Hi, and welcome to Friendship, Wellness, and Wisdom, the show where two friends, Rachel,
Heather.
get together and talk about life, learning, and a variety of practices for health, wellness, and overall self care. So, today on the show, we are going to be talking about decisions and where we're making those decisions from, what emotions are attached to them, and if we're doing them out of fear or if we're making them out of joy. So if we're making our decisions out of fear, we're doing things maybe that are going to keep us safe, that are going to keep us comfortable,
Mhm.
and that are going to keep us feeling how we're already feeling and what we're used to, as opposed to making decisions out of joy, where we're going for what we want out of life, fulfilling our hopes, our dreams. And yeah, so this is all being based from a blog that Heather has written and outlined. And I'm going to do something a little bit different today. And I am going to kind of read through part of her blog. And then she's going to come in and explain kind of what it is to be making those decisions from a place of fear and what that looks like and how to identify it so that you
Mhm.
can notice what's going on and where you might be making those decisions from. And then she'll go through also joy based decisions, how to notice and recognize when you're making the decisions there. And then, really, once you're noticing, guess what? You get to choose which path you're going to take and where you want to be making your decisions in life from.
Yeah. Yeah. Once you notice, you can choose to have the control over your decision making instead of making them from a place of discomfort, which sometimes is comfortable.
Yeah, that's really funny because like it kind of goes back to self-talk, right? We were like
Mhm.
we get into these scripts, into these patterns,
Yeah.
and we keep running them whether they're serving us or not, and it kind of becomes very difficult to get pulled away.
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk a whole bunch and then I'm going to let Heather talk. But I'm going to read her blog. So here's how we're going to do this week. And I really want to see if you guys like it. So before I start that, remember to like, to subscribe, to hit the bell for notifications, and please let us know what you're thinking, what you want to hear from us. Let us know if you like what we're doing so we can give you more of it. Or maybe you think we should take a different direction, and we'd like to hear those thoughts too. So, with that, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting this craziness that we love.
This
And
journey
this journey that we're on,
that
because we're
we've
going to
made
keep
out of
going.
joy.
So absolutely. This was definitely a joy-based decision here.
Yeah.
Um absolutely. All right. I'm going to put my best face on here and I'm going to read. So, if I get tongue-tied, I will apologize now. Here
Okay.
we go.
You're among
So,
friends.
yeah. Life is a series of choices, some big, some small, some conscious, some habitual. But have you ever stopped to consider whether that you're making those choices out of fear or joy? So we're going to start with fear-based decisions. Fear-based decisions often stem from a place of anxiety or insecurity or a desire to avoid discomfort. They keep us tethered to what is familiar, even if it's not serving us well. We choose the safe route, the predictable path, because we're afraid of the unknown. Think about it. How many times have you stayed in a job you dislike because you're afraid of taking the risk of pursuing your true passion? How often do you avoid confrontation or difficult conversations because you fear the discomfort of conflict? These are all examples of fear based decisions that hold us back from living our fullest lives. Fear based choices create a cycle of stagnation. We remain stuck in our comfort zones, unwilling to step outside and explore new possibilities. We may convince ourselves that we're being practical or realistic, but in reality, we're just playing it safe out of fear. Like, that's so true.
Hmm.
I've often heard the quote that like life is, like life takes place outside of our comfort zone.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I'm gonna hand that over to you to kind of unpack like what I
Yeah.
just read to everyone.
So I started this blog right before I decided to retire. I've been in a job that has, even though I chose to be in the job that I was in, I chose it because of stability, because of the comfort to support my family and things like that. But the job is really unfulfilling uh,
Mhm.
in the inspiration piece. The people or the organization is was not very inspirational to me. It was at one time, and as I moved up the ladder, that changed. And anybody that has changed positions and sees a little bit behind the curtain sometimes can change the emotion towards the organization that they're in, right?
Absolutely. I had a similar situation,
Yeah.
but keep going. And
Yeah, and so anyway, so after 20, 28 some odd years, 20 whatever some odd years, I decided that I made a conscious decision that I was going to retire. And financially, it was not a good decision. Um, and the reality for me was it was overwhelming and scary, but I had to really sit down and search my heart. And I had to think, I just spent 20 some odd years in a place that wasn't feeding my muse. And so, and it's not that it's a bad place, it's just the thing that we have to understand is that we change as human beings. So that makes
absolutely, of
our the way we look at things, our perspective change. And
course.
in that change, we find different things that we desire, right? And we find different things that spark that flame in us. And so when we stay in the fear based is the sacral chakra, the root chakra, right? We want the security, we want to be stable, we want to be able to pay our bills. Who doesn't? You want to be able to pay the bills, right? And then you also want to be comfortable, but there is a discomfort sometimes in that comfortability, right? And so I think some people need to step back to see it. Some people need to step forward to see it. Some people need to like do some self-reflection, whatever that's like. So I think majority of us, and I think we can all relate to this, that we make fear-based decisions. What if I can't pay the bills? What if what if this person doesn't like what I'm going to say and now they're no longer my friend? What if, all the what ifs? It goes back to our self-talk episode
Hmm.
where we kind of create all this information of the not knowing, and then we build the anxiety and the stress and everything like that, and then that makes us either make a decision to do something, or it makes us not make a decision to do something.
Yeah, which is also a choice, right? Like choosing
Right.
not to do anything is
It's
actually
still
your
a choice.
choice.
Yeah. And
Absolutely.
so feeling that, and when you talk about holding your belly and feeling it in your belly, that's touching your sacral chakra, and that's your compass, right?
Mhm.
That's your part of your body that's going to be like, oh my God, this is giving me butterflies and it's
Right.
making me feel so good. Or it's like, oh my God, I have a pit in my stomach and I think I'm going to vomit.
Absolutely. That is like the worst feeling. I want to kind of go back to that because we discussed this, but I don't know if we discussed it like while we were recording or if it was a separate discussion because we do that so much.
Yeah.
So, one of the ways that I like to make important decisions is to really listen to my body. Like
Hmm.
cuz your body knows what
Yeah.
you really want. And um a, a few times when it's a bigger decision and I really can't figure out what the best thing is, like it could really go either way.
Hmm.
Um I will put my hands on my stomach. I will close my eyes. and I will think of what my options are. And sometimes I'll have 2 options, sometimes I may have 5 options. And I'll close my eyes and I'll think of each option and I see how I feel or how I physically react to each
Mm,
option.
yeah.
Because there are times where I think, well, I could do this. And all of a sudden, I can feel the smile come to my face.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever done that? You literally think about something that you want,
Yeah.
and you're just smiling, like, and it came out of nowhere. And then
This
there's another time
podcast.
where you think about, right, where you think about what you should be doing or what, like, you were
Hmm.
told you're supposed to do. And all of
Yeah.
a sudden, your stomach just
Yeah.
knots. And then, there are other times where you just kind of feel nothing. And you're
Right.
like, okay, well, I mean, maybe that's safe. Maybe, um, so your body will absolutely react one way or the
Yeah.
other. And that's a really good way to kind of know how you feel. Whether
Right.
you're going to make that decision or not, like that's up to you. But your body will tell you exactly how you feel and what you really
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
and what you want to do and what you want to pursue. So I'm putting this out there. Like next time you have a decision, try with a small one first. Stop, close your eyes and see how you feel about it. Well, ice cream, right? Should I get ice cream? Should I not get ice cream? Close your eyes, put your hands like right over your belly, and think about yourself eating ice cream. And if, say, you have a stomach ache, so if you have a stomach ache, you might get a feeling that maybe is not so great.
Mhm.
But maybe like all of a sudden you're smiling and you're eating ice cream. So you're like, okay, well, one way or the other, I'm going to be happy eating the ice cream. So I'm going to go get it.
Yeah.
You might not feel the same about afterwards, but just I felt like that was kind of
Hmm. That was
a safe
simple. That was
example, right?
simple.
We're not going out and flying jet planes or like
Right.
jumping off
Yeah.
a
Uh,
cliff
changing
or
changing our careers in our
yeah,
career.
whatever, like, laying down on a railroad track, like none of that. Like I don't suggest any of those things.
Mm.
Ice cream is a pretty safe neutral place.
The other thing is talking about it. Does it light you up? Right.
Yeah.
When you talk to your people, your tribe, does it light you up? Like, are you so excited that they are like excited for you and they want to get on board? And you know what I mean? And then you have the other thing that it lights you up and it doesn't light other people up, or those people, they're afraid for you,
Yes.
right?
Absolutely.
And we make decisions in that aspect too. Oh, so and so's not going to like that decision, or so and so's not going to like this, or whatever. And I invite you to really hone in on you and not others, you know, because the reality for me, and we touched on this a little bit too, that I am me unforgivably. And the reason why I am me unforgivably is because I don't know who else to be, right? I can't be anybody else because I'm me. And so I can't forgive, like um, I can't ask for forgiveness for being me because I am me. That's it. People could choose not to be around me or not want to be around me, and that's okay too. And that's okay. And so I think when you make these decisions, they have to be for you. And whether it's fear choice or joy choice, they still have to be for you. They have to be your decisions that you can live with. They have to be something that you can either defend or live with, or whatever that looks like. And I think that's super important for people to know that even if you make a decision out of fear, because that's where your comfort zone is right now, that's okay, because you're living your life, and you have to be able to own that, you know. It is great though to make decisions out of joy. And once you start making decisions out of joy, things start happening. And so I'm going to turn it over to you for the joy piece of it, so you can get into where we left off, and then
Okay.
we can move on to joy. Because honestly, starting to make decisions out of joy is a level up and a life changer.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, and it's something that like you kind of want to make sure you know how to do. So we talked
Yeah.
about fear and when we're making decisions from fear. So we have, on the other hand, joy based decisions are fueled by excitement, passion, and a sense of purpose. Yes.
Hmm.
Okay. We make choices from a place of joy. We embrace the unknown with open arms. We're willing to take risks because we believe in the potential for growth and fulfillment. So yeah, absolutely. Like that's where you need to be if you want to grow, you want to change, and you want to move forward in life. Choosing joy means following your heart even when it leads you down an unfamiliar path. It means pursuing your dreams with enthusiasm, curiosity, trusting that the journey will be worth it in the end. And forget about even in the end, like the journey itself, throughout the
Yeah.
journey. There's
It's
usually
huge.
so much joy to be found before we even get to the end. Joy based decisions may be scary at first. They require us to step out of our comfort zones, to confront our fears head on. But the rewards far outweigh the temporary discomfort. When we choose joy, we open ourselves up to endless possibilities and opportunities for personal and professional growth. So, how can we start making more joy based decisions in our lives? I'm so glad you asked. So, we're going to listen to our inner voices, pay attention to what truly brings you joy and fulfillment, to tune out the noise of the fear and the doubt, and to listen to your intuition. Embrace uncertainty, recognize that the unknown is not something to be feared, but rather something to be embraced. Embrace the excitement of new experiences and opportunities. Take calculated risks. Understand that taking risks is the natural part of growth and success. Be willing to step outside your comfort zone and take calculated risks to pursue your goals. Practice self compassion. Be kind to yourself as you navigate the ups and downs and follow your joy. Understand the setbacks and challenges are a natural part of the journey and treat yourself with compassion and understanding. All right, so surround yourself with support. Surround yourself with people who uplift and support you in your pursuit of joy. Seek out mentors, friends, and loved ones who encourage you to follow your heart and to chase your dreams. Okay, so I'm going to take it back to you. All right, and I go point by point. So, listening to your inner voice, what tips do you have for that?
So I go back to meditation for my inner voice because sometimes my answer comes in silence. And so I think that um, getting every distraction out of the way and just focusing on your inner voice is huge for you to really tap in. Now, your inner voice is, we talked about this in our self talk episode. Your inner voice is going to tell you, this is not safe. You shouldn't do this. Da 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 da. And then you need to ask those questions. Why? Why shouldn't I do it? Why is it not safe? Help me understand those pieces. And then your inner voice starts fact finding. Well, I don't know if it's not safe because we haven't done it. I
Right.
don't know if it's a bad choice because we haven't done it. And then you can start asking those things. You know, it fires you up. It fires you up.
Absolutely.
You feel it. It's kind of like seeing, think about when you first met somebody that you like were totally crushing on and you get the butterflies in your stomach and you're nervous and you're da 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 and you're just like, and it just gets you fired up. Like you talk about them all the time and you are just like in this euphoria, right? And when you make decisions out of joy, you get that euphoria. You things fire you up for a reason, and that is your joy, right?
Okay.
And so listening to the inner voice and really tapping into that, sometimes you have to silence the distractions.
Okay. So I want to know too about embracing uncertainty. Now, I know like I get like I will come up with a million reasons why something is unsafe and why I
Yeah.
shouldn't do it. And I have my own pattern for like questioning and asking like, okay, why is this dangerous? And then I'll ask like, okay, but what are the benefits and all that?
Mhm.
So how do we embrace the uncertainty of like these decisions? Like, how do you deal with just
Right.
not knowing?
So the reality for me for bracing uncertainty is I always think, what's the worst that can happen? Right? The worst that can happen is I fall on my ass and it didn't turn out the way I wanted it to. But in falling on my ass and not turning out the way I wanted it to, I learned so much to change that, right? And so I really enjoy and love, and I live by this. I love figuring it out, right? The
Yeah,
journey of
I do.
actually like embracing the discomfort, and then it does work out and I'm just like, oh my god, that I fixed it, I figured it out. Like that is super exciting to me. um and so when things come to you and you're not sure about it, it again, where do you want to be? Like what is your growth? Where do you want to go to? Because honestly, even if it is not what you expected it to be, right?
Hmm.
How bad could it be if you're not
So,
making a decision that's like detrimental, right?
right. So I know when I ask sometimes, like, and this is going to sound a little weird at first, but you'll get it. So sometimes I will ask myself, like, what's the worst thing that can happen? And don't ask me why, but like, so a lot of times, like, I've come up with my biggest fear is screwing up so bad that I can't fix it.
Hmm.
So there are times where I'll ask myself, what is the worst thing that could happen? And it's like, well, the entire universe implodes and it's literally all your fault. Now, I know, like, it's so bizarre and so out there
What
that
a
automatic, right? It automatically snaps me back into reality because I'm like, okay, I do not possess those powers. Like, so I am not going to single-handedly cause
right.
the universe to implode. I'm not screwing up the sacred timeline.
That's
I'm not messing up the universe in any way. Like, that
the
is
all
not
powerful
right.
Rachel.
I do not have those powers. So usually, like, when I catch myself getting that worried, I'm like, what's the worst thing that can happen? And
Hmm.
like when that comes up, I'm like, I know that I've like gone
Yeah,
way off
totally,
base and
totally.
nothing's gonna be that bad.
Right.
I can
So
probably handle whatever is coming up. So
so
I
just
just like true story.
and I go back to our cosmetology teacher.
Oh dear.
Oh dear, oh dear. And our cosmetology teacher had a great philosophy, and I don't know if patrons would appreciate this philosophy, but she had a great philosophy to get us over our fears of doing dyes and colors and cuts and things like that, because when you first start out in cosmetology, you don't want to cut off too much because you're afraid that the patron's going to freak out and everything like that. And she used to tell us, and I don't know if you remember this, she used to tell us all the time, there are no bad haircuts, only new hairstyles.
So like, yeah, okay.
And not to say that like not to say that going into
Right.
cosmetology,
That's so not true. Like, just
yeah,
by the way, there are lots
but
and
I'm
lots of bad
just
haircuts out there.
but I'm just saying, not to say that that should be your philosophy of going and getting a haircut or getting your hair dyed or whatever. But the reality is, she used to say that so we would breathe,
Yes,
because
exactly.
we would be like, we've gotten bad
Mm-mm.
haircuts. We know there
What?
are bad
Yeah,
haircuts. But it was a moment to like kind of like break the ice and
absolutely.
kind of get us back to reality. Hair grows back.
Mm-hmm.
And even though it's uncomfortable and it probably doesn't look great, you can wear a hat, you can wear a headband, hair grows back. You know what I mean? And it's not the end of the world. And that was her point. The point was, yeah, you're gonna make mistakes, but they're not the end of the world. So if you're not making detrimental decisions, right? If you're
Right.
not making decisions of destruction to yourself or others, then the fact of the matter is, then the decision making really, you can learn a lot and you can figure it all out.
So I feel like that kind of brings us to making the calculated risk, right? So you went to
Mhm.
school. We went to school.
Yes,
We learned how to cut hair, but in order
yes,
to do that, we actually had to cut hair. So
Yeah.
like that's basically right there. We went, we learned what we needed to do, but we
Mhm.
needed to take that calculated risk and
Yeah.
actually make that cut.
Yeah.
We went, we took classes,
Yep.
we got informed,
Yep.
like we learned what we were doing, and now we
We made
need to take
mistakes.
this. Yeah.
Made mistakes.
And
Hopefully on a
absolutely.
mannequin head. Those mistakes were on mannequins, mostly.
Yes. Mostly. I made a few mistakes on people while learning to cut hair, but
I
they
think
knew
we
what they
all
needed
did.
to. And I actually got quite good at it after a while.
You are an amazing hairdresser.
So
I would let
thank
you cut
you.
my hair any time of day. Yeah. So, and then practicing self compassion. We always go back to this. Literally,
Absolutely.
we always go back to this, and it is huge. Having compassion for yourself is such like if you're going to hone into anything on self care, really that is the key. Like that is the one that you really need to tune because having love and compassion for yourself just changes the game. It really changes the game. And so, um, knowing that you're going to make mistakes, knowing that, this sometimes this vision of grandeur in your head is so gorgeous and beautiful and it just lights you up. And then you start on the process and you're like, this is so hard and it sucks.
And you come
I
out
hate
covered
it.
in mud.
Yes. And then you get to the other side and you're like, oh my God, that was so messy. But the reality is I did it. I did that. Like I moved forward and I did all this stuff. And I think that that's super important to acknowledge how you move through things. And it's messy. Moving through things is messy. But the whole thing is to find the compassion and really love yourself for trying it and doing it and learning and the journey and where you came from and where you're going to and just loving that whole process of being you, right? Because you and I can be on the same exact journey and we will go through a plethora of emotions and they'll all be different and
Absolutely.
and we'll learn different things and our brains work different and we problem solve different and that is our own genie and that is the beauty of being who we are. And so loving that piece of you that you look at things differently and that's why this particular thing lights you up.
Yeah. I kind of want to add too, like we also realize like we're not unrealistic here. This stuff it's hard. It is
Mhm.
hard sometimes to be compassionate because
Yeah.
we want to find fault again to keep ourselves safe.
Mhm.
But you always have that option to stop and to think about, okay, well, if I really want to do this, like, what encouragement would I want someone else to give me
Right.
to get through this? And then you can stop and do that for yourself.
Right.
And
Yes.
yes, if there's hazards and things like that, if there are things that are like truly dangerous
Yeah.
that you need to take into consideration, then you can kind of reroute. It doesn't have to stop you.
Right.
And I think that's an important thing to put in there. Like, yes, like things are going to get messy. And if it's something worth doing, most of the time something will get messy,
Yeah.
right? But if you plant flowers, right? And that's something beautiful in the end. You're going to get messy doing it. You're
Yes.
playing with dirt, you're playing with water, you're making mud,
Mhm.
right? So you're going to go in, you're going to clean up, and guess what? Like then you'll be cleaned up and you'll have some beautiful flowers to look at and to smell and
Right.
to enjoy.
Yes.
So like it's all those, you got to break a few eggs to make a cake. Yeah, we made a mess,
Yeah.
right? Now we have to clean up all the bowls, but we get to like lick the spoon and in the end like we get cake.
Yes.
So,
And how could that be bad?
it's I mean just it really can't be. Well, it could be you know, it could be a flavor you don't like, but I mean that's the
It
worst
could be.
case scenario. That's really
It
just
could
not
be.
so
But
bad
go
and
sit in the garden and eat it. It's
it's
fine.
really you
It's
still got
fine.
cake. I mean, anyway, I know. It seems a little ridiculous, but it's like sometimes, like, again, like I pointed out, like I catch myself thinking those negative things.
Yes.
And oh my God, they're so ridiculous. So why
Yeah.
not go with the ridiculous one that makes you happy
Right.
and eat your cake? I mean, just sit
Each
there and eat your cake.
fair.
Um, all right. So now we're surrounding ourselves with support. Um,
Yes. This one's a hard one too.
it really can be, because a lot of times the people that we are around
Mm-hmm.
and that we are maybe related to, and the people that we kind of have to go through life with on some degree,
Mm-hmm.
maybe not be very supportive.
Yeah.
And now you're going to have to go and seek out the people who do support you and who support your dreams.
Right.
And that can be really scary.
Yes.
So,
And so this one for me is a boundary one,
okay.
right?
Yes.
Um, if you are a person that loves me, you are going to let me share my dreams and aspirations with you. And if you are a person that loves me and wants to protect me, you will openly have these conversations of good and bad weighing out, right? Those are in my realm wonderful things because you're helping me weed out good and bad. And there are times where my husband is a great person for it. I can say to him, "Oh, I'm doing A, B, and C." The bountiful yogi, right?
Mm-hmm.
Opening up the bountiful yogi, and I'm still in process of that, but it is my dream. It is my life aspiration. It is my dream. And so, talking to my husband's like, "You can do anything. You're amazing. You got this," and everything like that. And then he'll say to me, "Have you thought of this?" You know, and I'll be like, "I have thought of that. Can you and I talk about that so it can, work through the process of how we come over that hill or whatever." And so people that supportive people won't necessarily, you know, think that you're the bee's knees and you're invincible,
No,
right?
absolutely not.
But they will support you by helping you process all these amazing things that you have going through your head. The boundary piece for me is if I'm telling you something and you're telling me, "Oh, that's a dumb idea. That's outlandish. You shouldn't be thinking that. You're not qualified to do that." Those people, we're done here. And if those people come up and say to me, "Hey, how's that thing?" By the way, that's none of your business.
Yeah.
It's none of your business because you didn't want to hear about it when I was lit up about it. And by the way, I'm still lit up about it. And how it's going is none of your business.
No, what you want is that person who goes, "Wow, that's really crazy. How do we make that work?"
Yes,
Like,
absolutely.
that's
Absolutely.
insane. Wait, we could actually do this though.
Yes. I can tell you, I said to my husband, I said, "Me and Rachel are going to get together and we're going to do this podcast and everything." And he was like, "Yes, yes. You and Rachel doing something together?" Yes. Like he was
Well,
just
yeah.
as fired up
Well,
about
my
it as
husband's
I
like,
was.
"Okay, I have this microphone and you can use this. And here's this like desk that you can elevate in case you need to
Yeah.
stand up and move around. And what else do I have for you?
Yeah.
Oh, and you guys, and I mean, he's come
Yeah.
on, like he'll come on and like
Yeah.
take care of our technical issues so that we can get
Yes.
started.
And
Like,
and
he'll watch the show and make comments. He looks at our thumbnails.
yes, and that's it. Like even you and I were like, "Oh, you know what? I that's pretty interesting. How is that working? Like how do we work that out? What can I do to help you with that?"
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've been going back and forth. We have this together. We have our own personal projects. Heather has about a bazillion. I literally have one other one currently.
That is
Currently.
not true. You have a
Um,
bazillion projects. They're all right here. I don't
right, but like but I'm working on one.
know. Yeah, I can't just work on one. I am so ADHD.
So,
It's
um,
psycho.
but we
But
have been going back and forth with our
yeah.
stuff, and we don't always just, "Oh my god, this is great." No, it's like,
Mhm.
"Okay, this is good. Here's what I would change,
Mhm.
or here's what I think other people might get stuck on. Maybe you could try this
Right.
instead." And we keep going back and forth. Our Google Docs folders that we have been sharing with each other are
Chunky.
packed. I'm like, I'm literally
Chunky.
gonna have to start like going through and like weeding, like we said, your brain does when you don't repeat stuff
Hmm.
over and over again.
Hmm.
So the stuff that doesn't get repeated is gonna have to get like
Yeah,
plucked out,
like a brain dump.
basically.
Yeah.
So so that we can really work on the stuff that kind of shines and does light us up.
Right.
I'm gonna cut us off because we're
Yeah.
going a little long here. So this is the conclusion of what we've got here. So, fear based decisions may keep us in a place of comfort, even if it's uncomfortable, and it limits our potential for growth and fulfillment. By choosing joy over fear, we open ourselves up to endless possibilities and opportunities for happiness and success. So, next time you're faced with a choice, ask yourself, am I choosing out of fear or am I choosing out of joy? So,
Yay.
yeah, no, that was like really great. And I think it's really important, again, to be aware. You're
Yeah.
going to choose what you're going to choose, and no one, no one's here to change your mind or tell you what you should or shouldn't be doing.
Hmm.
What we're trying to do here is to shine a light on what your options are and to make you aware that you maybe have more choices that you think, and that it is okay to be uncomfortable,
Hmm.
and it's also okay to be excited,
Hmm.
and that's, it's up to you, but find those people out there who can support you
Yeah.
and help you out when you're doing great, and even more when you're doing crappy,
Yes.
and will just kind of pick you back up when you've fallen face down in the dirt.
Hmm.
And that's, choose to stand back up, choose to find a way to shine. And
And know that you learn every time you fall.
absolutely.
You learn
So,
every time you fall, and everything is a teachable moment for you. And so harness that. Own it,
so I,
harness it.
yeah.
Yep. So until next time.
All right. We love you, and come back and watch again.
Bye.